lost it all. I want it back. I want the avatar. I want my honor, my throne. But I know now that no one can give you your honor. It's something you earn for yourself by choosing to do what's right.
Alright, what's up, folks? Welcome. It is another episode of the Super Shinobi Show. I don't know what that was. Just too much energy, being cooped up in the house for so damn long.
Man, this lockdown is getting out of pocket, man.
Man, man, this chair, I don't know what this chair is going to do without me, man. Once I go back to work, I've been in this chair at least 10 hours a day.
That's some love.
Yeah, I want to say at least 10 hours a day I'm in this chair.
Jesus Christ, that's some love. Yeah, I know your chair's gonna be upset for sure when you go back to work,
yeah.
man.
Yeah. So I don't know what's going to do, but damn, man.
They be waiting.
Yeah, it's been a weird week. So before we get into the queue, guys, today our topic is going to be anime versus source material. Whether anime should follow source material, or should they do their own kind of original thing, and kind of examples of what's been going on in the industry world with that. So that's what we'll talk about today. But before that, man, Demon Slayer is coming to an end finally. The manga.
Yeah, man, I've been reading week or month by month along, man. I'm a little sad, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I'm a little sad. I feel like we got robbed as consumers of just like the anime community. Aside from the manga, I feel like we're getting robbed of just. I feel like you could have dragged the story out a little longer. You could have added a bit more people to battle here and there, but overall, it's a good story though.
Yeah, I kind of knew that this was gonna happen when I was reading the manga. I'm not caught up like you. I'm still a whole bunch of chapters behind, but I'm not gonna try to spoil it too much for people. But a lot of people have died so far, and it gives you the hint that this manga either might not go that long or a brand new cast is coming soon.
See,
So that's as much as I can say without spoiling it for people. But that's how the manga's been feeling for me.
yeah, no, I'm saying I thought, like I said, man, I thought we were gonna get some more, but
Yeah, that
yeah,
sucks.
man, it's coming to an end.
Yeah, you would think they would want to do more just because of the hype they got from season one, and then the hype they're building up on this movie coming up. That's weird.
I feel like just like what you said, with all the hype they have going on, I just think I just thought in terms of business wise, dollar sense, that doesn't make sense to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got a lot of hype, you got a lot of steam. You know what I mean? Come around for your second turn of bat, and you're bunting now.
Yeah, that's strange. I don't know why they would do that. That sucks. Fire Force too, right?
Yes, that's another thing I was sad about, man. Here, Fire Force is in this last leg too, on this pretty much this last little chapter. Or I want to say they're at like 23 or 4 volumes right now.
Okay. Well, even watching that anime, you knew it wasn't going to be a long time, a long running anime. You kind of knew that there's only a few years of life in this anime.
Right. I thought honestly it was going to take that Hunter x Hunter route. It was going to have maybe 200 episodes and to be done.
Yeah.
But who knows how many seasons? I still have to go back and read to catch up to kind of feel how many arcs there are going to have in this show.
Yeah, and it could actually take the Hunter x Hunter route to where it came out too early and there wasn't enough source material.
Man,
where, it ends, but the show kind of keeps going, and maybe the manga comes back. What happened to Hunter x Hunter the first run.
See, now the sucky part is I wish that was the case. The creator, I don't want to say name. His name's Atsushi Okubo. He's done. Like he was saying, he's done. He's going the mangaka route. He's doing his little mangas. He's gonna finish the stories and take his time and chill.
Yeah. Well.
So it sucks. We kind of and he also made Soul Eater for most people who didn't know.
Oh, okay.
So he's going back to back. You know what I mean? He's 2 for 2 at the line, bro.
Dude, when you say that, it makes sense now. Now the art starts to look the same.
Yeah.
Soul Eater.
Look at the eyes, the head shapes.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. when I found that out, dude, I was like, fuck, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
you know, you're gonna get some good product,
man, I know.
and you know it's gonna end.
Yeah, yeah, that sucks. So I guess we're back to looking for another big anime. Demon Slayer
Yep.
going out. Fire Force looked like season 2 was going to be huge, but they don't look like they're going to be long running.
Mm-mm.
No.
I feel like that's the new wave, man. It's like a new pattern or trend that's coming up with anime.
Yeah, yeah, we'll talk about that later. But let's get into the queue. We don't really have a lot of shows, but we'll get into it. I'll start first.
Look cute.
The queue. All right. I know. I feel like I should just record myself going the queue. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I might do that now. All right, guys. So the first one I watched, um, I only watched this show because I've been playing the game that it's based off of, like nonstop, right? So I watched Fantasy Star Online, episode Oracle. Very important. I said episode Oracle and not the animation because Fantasy Star Online 2, the animation, was awful. So I didn't go into this one with a lot of expectations just because the first one wasn't very good, but it does follow the story very well of the story from the game, like the first 3 episodes, I believe. Then it goes
Mm.
into original story, which you can tell it's an original story. It's not that great. The plot's kind of muddy. It doesn't really make sense too much, but it basically follows an MC Ash. This guy in the front. I think he's a hunter. They kind of talk about classes, um, but they don't follow a lot of rules that they make us follow in the game, which is kind of weird. But yeah, it follows Ash, and he's pretty much the new recruit. And of course, if you guys play the game and you get ambushed in the first episode, that's pretty much what happens here. Whole team dies. Then he has to go through arcs. Then you find out like arcs is like some corrupted government thing. I don't know, man. The story gets really weird. But the fight scenes are really good, though. That's probably the one thing I could say about this rendition of Fantasy Star Online 2, was that the fight scenes were a lot better. I feel like with PSO 2, the animation, the first one that came out, it looked like a very long commercial where they were just trying to like get people to play the game because the show is literally about people playing the game, and it just wasn't very good. But this one was a lot better. They didn't have to do that. They were like in the world. Um, so I don't know. I mean, that's what that one was.
Yeah, bro. I was actually really surprised. I didn't know that there was two different Fantasy Star renditions.
Yeah, yeah. Episode Oracle. It's different.
Oh wow.
Have you only
And then,
seen Episode Oracle?
bro, I've only seen the Fantasy Star the animation.
Oh, dude.
I've never seen the Oracle, so
Yeah. So watch
that was kind of
Oracle.
cool looking at that because I definitely get what you meant about the first rendition of it. Like it felt like it was like a video game cutscene. The
Yeah,
entire show.
that's pretty much what it was. It was like a cut. It was just a whole bunch of cutscenes and a whole bunch of like advertisement for PSO 2. That's what it felt like.
if
It was
if
a,
the show was a bunch of
it
advertisements.
was a bunch of ads. But this one, uh, the first 3 episodes in game is what the show
Mm.
is based off of, and then they go into their own thing with Matoi, that girl he finds, and then trying to find like the reason behind arcs. So it dives into a bunch of story that they can't get you to care about. Like
Mm.
you can tell the characters are they really want to figure this out, but they just don't sell it. I don't know. Like the story is not good enough.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. The fight scenes are really good though. They're exactly what they should be.
So I was gonna ask because you said that the show doesn't follow along in terms of the game, in terms of how they fight or their character type, right?
Yeah.
So by that, did you mean like there's like hunters, which are for most people who don't know what hunters are in the game, they're tanks. Um, is you saying like they're using like weapons that aren't specified to their class?
No, no, no. They're using the right weapons. Like they couldn't get away with that. If they did that, the community would go insane because
Okay.
apparently there's supposed to be a season 2 coming off of this. And I don't know. I guess they've been making announcements in the game, but they've been in Japanese, so I've been like trying to translate them. So like that's I don't know. So a lot of the new stages are based off of the show. I didn't know that. So
Oh wow.
like the Tokyo one that we played, that one's based off of the show. There's a few of them that I recognize from the show that weren't that were like in game. I don't know. It was
Yeah.
kind of cool. It's cool because the lobby that we play in, I wish
Yeah.
it looked 100% like the one it did in the show. We only got half the lobby from the show. The other
Oh
half of the
wow.
lobby looks sick, and I wish we had that part. It goes like past where like the people at the desk are.
Yeah.
So you know how like you go onto the camp ship in the show. There's a whole section behind it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I wish they expanded on that, but it's fine.
That's what's up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
Did you
cool.
have another show for your queue or?
Yeah, I can do another one. You don't want to do yours?
Oh no, okay, I can get straight into it.
Yeah, we can
I
go
just
through
want to
yours.
make sure. All right. So for this week, for my queue episodes or shows that I would recommend you guys to add to your queue, would be a show that I spoke about previously on this show. Would be Hunter x Hunter. I know you guys are probably sick of hearing about this show, but my girlfriend just recently started watching this on her own. I didn't make her watch it. I didn't, force her. I didn't sit her in front of the anime. I didn't have it in terms of a list for her to pick out. She went and found this on her own, and she's been addicted. So I've been rewatching this with her. She's binging through now. And I just have to say, dude, everything about this show is absolutely fascinating and captivating. From it has a wonderful way of designing a captivating beginning of a show. So that's really what I've been watching, and it's about a young boy, like I said, like I talked about before, a young boy named Gon who is trying to get his hunter license to find his father, who is a hunter by the name of Jing French. That's pretty much the plot of the entire show. He does this to find his father. He was raised on the island without his father. His mother raised him, single parent. But the show, like I said, it's really captivating. It's really amazing. PJ can tell you it has probably one of the flawless fight scenes ever animated.
Mm-hmm.
It has the most complete arc towards the end of the series. It's just amazing. It's just amazing. I don't know anyone who dislikes the show.
That is very true. I don't know anyone who doesn't like this show, but it's good.
Yeah.
I'll just keep it at that. It's good. Everyone should watch it. It's definitely really hard to watch because it's so long, but there aren't any filler.
Mm.
Not really. The arcs kind of just work as filler themselves. Like they'll do like small little things, like the York New City arc. There's like a lot of
Yeah.
shopping and stuff and getting ready for the auction, which kind of feels like filler, but it's still kind of pertaining to the.
They blend their filler into the storyline really well.
Yeah, they do. Uh,
They-
yeah,
Because now that you think about it, just like you said, there's not that much filler with the show.
yeah. There's not filler in the way that we know filler.
Yeah,
We know filler as like going to get ice cream with Future Trunks, or getting your driver license with Piccolo with the backwards cap.
man,
Uh,
man, he was saucy.
yeah.
Man,
So those are the fillers we know. These fillers are a little different. They'll like you right now you're following Kurapika as she's like bodyguarding this chick as she's like shopping, and you're like, all right, that's kind of a filler. But then all of a sudden, like somebody will pop up and it becomes kind of canon.
wait, bro, did you say Karapka's a
Oh
girl?
God,
I thought Karapka's was
Kurapika's
a
a
dude.
boy. Dude, it's really hard for you to remember that Kurapika is a boy.
Oh my god, man, I was about to say.
My bad. Kurapika, guy.
I feel like we're
They stay
butchering that
Shell
name. I
too.
don't know if it's Kropka, Kurapika. I done heard so many different pronunciations of the name,
The
man.
anime says Kurapika, so I'm gonna say Kurapika. That's how Gon, Free, and Killua say it. So
I've been calling him Blondie.
Blondie, Blondie.
Yeah.
Just call him Chain User. Chain User.
But yeah, man.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I still need to see what's it called? The last arc.
Oh yeah, bro. The Chimera Ant arc, that's the
Chimera
best one. The best arc of the show, man.
Yeah.
That, to me, honestly, in terms of like all of the shows that I've watched, an arc that I can rewatch forever would be that Chimera Ant arc. That
Okay.
probably was the most complete arc that I've ever watched.
Good. Yeah, because Greed Island.
Oh yeah, no, yeah,
Greed
I can easily say like Greed Island could have been passed up. That couldn't have not happened. That would have been fine.
Yeah, Greed Island should have just been combined with the New York one, or York New. Sorry, it's not New York, guys. It's York New City.
I will say this in this show, you will see probably one of the hardest punches thrown ever.
Yes, I will say that. What season two?
Yeah.
You get probably the coldest punch. Yeah,
And
yeah, it's definitely one of the hardest punches in anime history.
you know, after doing, talking about Hunter for a little bit, what I'm just now realizing,
Hmm.
that show, they threw a lot of heavy blows in that show. Like Dragon Ball Z, you remember how like Dragon Ball they had that effect? You get punched in the gut and you see the a fist come out through someone's back.
Yeah,
People were getting punched like that all the time in Hunter x Hunter.
yeah, yeah. Dragon Ball definitely set that standard of getting hit so hard you like fly across the ground and like blow up a mountain, right? Like that was definitely like Dragon Ball like influence around the anime world. But Hunter x Hunter does a really good job
Yeah.
of doing that. So the other show I picked, 2Q, was something I got lucky on. So I always try to watch some kind of random show during the week just to see if I can get lucky and outside of the mainstream, right? So I found Knights in Magic. So first of all, it's a terrible name and it has caused me to not click on it for the last, I want to say, year and a half. I've seen this anime just chilling in Funimation. I think it came out in 2017, so it's been 2 years since I've seen it out. It didn't get a second season, so that automatically made me not want to watch it right away. But I looked at it closely because I finally turned it on to the TV, so I got like a giant screen of it, and I looked at the mech that was on there, and I was like, dude, that mech looks kind of sick. All right, I'll watch it. Right, I'm not a huge mech person, but I'll watch it. So this show ends up being actually half isekai and half mech.
Mm.
So essentially, it follows our main protagonist. I think his original name was Ernest.
Wait, are you serious?
I think his name is Ernest or Ernesto. They
Oh,
only say
Jesus.
his real name like once. So he was a software programmer and super otaku, right? I mean, he used to build Gunplas, and that's pretty much what he does. He was the programmer that saved the company because he was like super programming speed, like super genius. Everyone knew that Ernesto or Ernest, whatever, was the guy to go to get your software programming needs done, right? So,
Mhm.
literally, after he's done saving the company, he's like out the store, like buying Gundams. Like, he's just like, oh, look at this one. Oh, special edition, right? And everyone's talking about how great he is, and you kind of know what's coming. He's like carrying a bag of Gunplas, and he's walking across the street, and bam, hit by a truck.
Oh,
Done.
Jesus.
Gundams fly in the air, and all you hear him saying is, "No, I'll never be able to build these." And like some magical force like hears him, and he wakes up in the magical world, right? So isekai right now, right? So he
Mm.
wakes up and he's a 9-year-old kid who's royalty. Basically, his grandfather is, I think he's a chancellor. I'm so confused about what people's roles are in this show, but I think he's like the chancellor of this school where the mech operators are called Night Runners. So he
Mm.
runs a Night Runner Academy. So he said, hey, when you get older, you can join Knights, whatever, right? So he joins, and then his grandpa's like teaching him magic before he joins. And because he's so smart already, he pretty much mastered how magical spells work. They, for some reason, work the same way as computer programming, right? So he's like, oh, it's just like computer programming, right? So by the time he hits 12 in the school, he's a genius, right? The country thinks he has ulterior motives because he keeps asking for all this stuff and he keeps building like insane things. Like he'll like borrow a mech from the school and like trick it out crazy. People are like, what? No way a 12-year-old kid made this. But here, let me just show you. Let me show you the which ones do I have? I only have Ikarga. So at the end of the show, he makes his own mech,
Mm.
fresh off his brain, and it's the one that's in there. It's this bad boy right here,
Oh, shit.
Ikaruga. So when I first saw it, I was like, oh, it's pretty dope, right? There's definitely better mechs in this show, but the one thing I really liked about this mech was look at the close up. He made it a Shogun helmet. So he made it a traditional samurai with a shogun mask.
That's tight.
And this was the first mecha he made that can fly. And yo, I wish I pulled up more pictures of mechs. I had one here. I'm just gonna put it on here. It's probably gonna look weird because it's probably gonna be sized all weird. But I gotta show you. This is the one I thought. So when I first saw it, I was like, yo, this is the one that Elijah is rocking. Maybe different color scheme, but like maybe the same color scheme. This bad boy right here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. No, I need the swords, man.
yeah. I think his name was like Greer or something like that. But they called him
Mm.
like the Crimson Knight, right? Yo, not the beginning. So in the beginning, this guy is like a wimp or whatever. He's the reason why the kid takes over a mech because he runs away, and the kid chases him down and takes over his mech. But this is before his upgrade. I wish I could show you the upgrade, but literally, man, this kid is living like the otaku dream. Like he's literally sitting there and building mechs from scratch, and I am appreciative that they didn't copy like Gundam looking mechs.
Yeah.
Um, but it was pretty cool seeing him like build because they're so used to like them looking like this. He built like a horse and carriage mech that was pretty much like a centaur with
Holy
like
shit.
horse legs and a robot body. Yo, and so the one thing that originally was gonna take me out of it was the CGI, right? I read it that it was CGI and I was like, oh, here we go, CGI, right? Let me be
Mm.
the first to tell you that the CGI is almost unnoticeable. They do a weird switch between CGI and like your typical animation. It's made
Get
by the
out.
same studios for Reincarnated as a Slime. So that's how the art looks regularly. The CGI is for the fight scenes and it's perfect. I think the issue with CGI right now, we'll get into it deeper later, is the sharpness of it. I think sometimes when the CGI looks too clean, the movement isn't as fluid because we're used to when things moving, it's blurring. So when you use CGI, there's no blur, and it just starts to look weird, right? Well, there's
Right.
always everyone knows what bad CGI looks like. This isn't bad CGI.
Hey, let me ask you this. Since we're just on, or since you keep saying bad CGI, and now I can't get this image out of my head. What scene do you think, in terms of something anime related, that you think had the worst CGI that you've seen?
Well, for me, one of the worst CGIs has been was that Cyborg '09.
Oh Jesus, the Netflix one?
Yeah, that was really bad. But I mean, even Michael B. Jordan's show, the Genlock or whatever, that CGI is pretty bad. But people like that show. Same with what's that? RWBY.
Yeah, I can't.
Yeah, I just can't do that CGI like that. Gantz is something I still need to watch. I'm only gonna
Dance is
watch
cool.
Gantz
I could
just
do
because
dance
of
because it kind of looks like Final Fantasy.
yeah
Do you remember how bad the CGI was when Goku and Beerus first fought in
the first
was it Battle of the Gods?
the first movie, right? Or not the
Yeah,
first movie, but the movie version. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that looked bad. And there's a lot. You have Berserk, obviously, um, which was weird. So whenever I watch Berserk, it's always like fine for a moment, and then for some reason like something will happen, and you're like, "Whoa, that's really bad." Yeah, Berserk's really bad. Devilman, Crybaby, but that's how it's supposed to be. So that art style was a little different.
Right.
So I don't hate that. Like I hate Cyborg was bad.
Okay.
Saint Seiya is really bad
Oh, yeah, that
CGI.
was terrible. Oh,
Like that's really bad CGI.
yeah.
But Knights and Magic, despite the terrible name, man, I'd recommend it definitely.
It
Another
for
good,
sure sounds like I'm something I'm gonna be tuned into, man. Because
yeah,
the
another good thing
I'm
too.
getting a lot of Senku vibes.
A lot of what?
Senku vibes.
Yeah,
Senku from Doctor Stone.
yeah, yeah. It's almost like that, except Senku Senku's is more mature.
Mm,
Imagine an otaku becomes a 12-year-old kid, which is essentially what otakus are. Where they're 12-year-old kids, right? But then like
mm.
act like a kid. Like he'll run into like an enemy. So like there's like they tease like a villain at the end, which is unfortunate because we don't get a second season. But he ends
Oh,
up
that's
being like the end villain for the last few episodes. who he's like this old guy, but he's like just as smart as Ernie, right?
Hmm.
Um, but even like Ernesty. So in this fantasy world, his name is Ernesty. So Ernesty is like super excited by like this guy. So that's the part I need to forget. I need to tell you how it ends. Usually
Okay.
I refuse to spoil things, but yo, the final fight is between the two brainiacs, and it's him and that a cargo or Carge, whatever his mech, versus a mech dragon.
Are we
Yeah,
talking full scale dragon? Or are we
full scale
talking?
dragon in the sky, hundreds of feet long,
Ooh,
breathing
shit.
fire for magic. I'm telling you, man, this show, this show
Ooh.
is good. It's not great, but I think the show is good enough that I think this next week I'm probably gonna clip some stuff and put it on
Mm,
Instagram and try to get other people to watch it. Like I think that's what I'm gonna do with this show. Like
mm.
that's how good the show is. To where I don't know, man. It's just the show's good.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. Just thinking about how, imagine how that fight scene would go down between this giant mech dragon and a regular sized mech, bro.
Yeah.
I'm locked in.
So this is a show that you can't go into like, oh man, I'm ready for some good character development. Like, nah. We're here for mechs. It's literally mechs fighting giant monsters, and where it's not giant monsters, it's fighting other giant mechs. Whether it be like a practice battle or something, but
So let me ask: is this strictly just a show that's aired in Japanese, or
no, it's in English.
with
I watched it dubbed. I watched the
thank
first two
God?
episodes subbed, then I watched it dubbed, and I like the dub voices a little better. Sub voices were good though. Subs were good. It was just easier for me to play Fantasy Star and watch in dub.
That's what my next question was. I was gonna say, is it something like, do I need to constantly keep my eyes on it to understand what's going on, or can I just hear it going on in the
You
background
can
and
hear it
pause what I'm
going
doing
on.
when this fight scene getting ready to happen?
Yeah, you can hear it going on. There is a plot kind of, but they kind of skip around and get straight to the action. You'll see, like you'll watch it and be like, "Yo, this show could have easily been 100 episodes," and I won't have
Hmm.
complained because there's so many things that happen in between that they just skip. And it's mostly because we don't care. Like we don't care about them going to class,
Right, the extra
because he's still
dialogue.
yeah, because he's still going to school, but they skip all the school stuff. It's straight to after school.
Right.
Yeah,
That's what's up. I'm happy to hear that they did that. It's for sure. Like I said, I'm for sure gonna be tuned into it, man. I added it to my queue earlier today.
yeah, yeah, dude. That show's good. You got another one for your queue?
For my queue, yeah, this would be because this was an off week for me in terms of anime. I was doing a lot of one show watching. But another show that I kind of got a couple episodes in again was an old show of mine. That kind of helped me get acclimated and comfortable with just watching anime was Trigun. Now this good. This show I started watching on Toonami as a young child, but it's about this main character named Vash, the Stampede, which is this guy with this giant Magnum revolver in his hand. Um, it's in a post-apocalyptic world where everything looks like pretty much like the desert. And he has the world's largest bounty, and I want to say it was like 400 million double dollars is what they call it in the show.
Yeah, I think it's 600 million double dollars
Oh shit! See,
or 600.
damn,
It's something with a six though.
yeah. Pretty much he's painted out to be like the destroyer of towns and villages, pretty much like. Uh, and as you watch the show, you see this guy is a goofball, man. Like he's nothing but a regular person. Yeah, and essentially like a regular. You can say he relates to a lot of like teenage dudes. He's kind of quirky, he's funny, weird, and he has his moments where he shines like gold, man. Um, but I will say the story of the show is very good, man. There's a huge plot twist at the end, which I don't want to spoil for most people. But yeah, Trigun is one of those shows I definitely recommend. Add it to your queue if you want something to watch. It has a great sub as well as a great English dub. Um, I personally watched the show in English dub. Yeah, see, just like Bug C10 in the comments said, man, Vash Zampe's an alien. So there's a lot of stuff, I don't want to give too much away with the show, but it's something definitely worthy for you guys to throw in your queue to have a good time, you know what I mean, with anime.
Yeah, Trigun is Trigun. I treat it like Bebop right now. where if I just need something plain, my first two go tos are gonna be Trigun and Bebop.
Yeah, same.
Those are things I can just watch over and over and over and over and over and over, and it's still funny, man. Especially Vash, dude. Vash is hilarious, dude. That guy.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I feel like I'm the only person who likes the outro of that show. Like,
Yeah, I think so. I can't remember it too well, but I don't remember it being that great.
good. It's definitely not good. Oh man, Initial D.
Initial D. I haven't tried to rewatch that.
I want another car anime to come out.
Yeah.
Like, I know we're digressing, we're on a little tangent, but if you think about it, there's not too many really good car animes out there. I feel like it's
Yeah, it's weird that during the whole like when Fast and Furious 3 came when Fast and Furious series was huge. I wonder why Japan didn't take advantage of that more
right.
after Tokyo Drift came out.
Because honestly, I feel like in terms of a lot of people's fascination with cars and JDM cars, it all started from was it Fast and Furious and Need for Speed.
Yep.
And the culture it derives and come from the land of the rising sun, man. It only makes sense to, get another thing. Initial D popped in the 80s and the early 90s.
Yeah, dude, that was a show that I was surprised how many people were watching it. Like originally, I thought people just knew what Initial D was because they were just in the arcade, like with the little cards in and going crazy. I couldn't compete with those people, man.
I had one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to in high school actually. My buddy Deshaun, he put me on because I used to love playing Initial D. But, I never had a card, so he gave me his. I wiped his, and we started going to SF State.
Yeah,
we played in the Chavez building.
Yep. At SF State back in the day when they had why am I drawing a blank on the name now? What's the gun shooting game?
Gun shooting game.
Time Crisis? Yeah, Time Crisis. When Time Crisis 3 first came out and it dropped that state, I think I was a senior in high school, and we all like went straight over there, right? And there was like lines of people. Yo, I got to the top 5, finished the game.
Oh shit! Top 5.
Time Crisis.
Damn. Okay, we gotta play again, my God. We gotta play again, bro.
Time Crisis is my game.
Hey, I'm curious. Did you have it? Time Crisis, like the first 2 on the PlayStation 1? Did you have the gun too?
Hell yeah, I have the orange one and the blue gun. Yep. I still got them, man. They're in my storage right now.
Legend in the game, brother.
Yeah, they're in my storage right now. We got them.
Damn, you're a legend in the game.
Yo,
I wish I had
to
some.
like hook it up to like a giant 70-inch screen and play some Time Crisis.
I got a projector, bro. All we need is a big wall.
Oh, dude, that'd be sick. We may have to do that one day.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. But let's see. You did yours, I did mine. We got nothing else. So I think we're just gonna hop into the next segment before we get into the main topic. We just have a special little segment that we cut out last week. We'll do it this week. But we'll cut to Elijah with.
Let me ask you a question. All right. So PJ, I got a question for you. What are some shows that aren't anime that you would consider to be anime?
So the main one is always going to be Avatar, right? I mean, that's the obvious go-to. Avatar is definitely the one where people kind of ignored the fact that it was made by Nickelodeon, and we just kind of accepted into the anime community just because it was Japanese influenced. And it could have went either way, right? It could have went to a Japanese studio. We still would have got the exact same story. And I think that's what makes it so great is that for us, it's a typical anime story. Like, it's just told really well, right? With Zuko. I think that's I always tell people that is the greatest character development ever, I think, almost, in cartoon anime history.
Honestly, yeah. Him and Sokka, I feel like, in that show.
Yeah. That's one. I always include Sonic X has always been very close for me. So
I have a question for you with that now, because when I was thinking of these questions during the week, I was thinking, all right, what is a question I can ask him that's legitimate and simple yet complex? So you said Sonic X. Sonic X actually, like if you look it up, it came from a Japanese studio. It has its its sub in there,
Yeah,
but it's not your typical anime.
yeah, and but it's Sega, right? And Sega, before anything, is still an American company. Sega
Yeah.
is us, right? Sega is a company living in America, wishing they were in Japan. That's all Sega is.
So
Sega
let me
is an
ask you this:
American Japanese company.
Viz started in San Francisco. Viz Media started in San Francisco and
Yeah.
then moved to
Well,
Japan. Does that make it American?
the roots are, I would say, obviously, right? I mean, it started in America, but it's not. So if Sega went to Japan, it would be a Japanese company because they produce Japanese products mostly, right?
Yeah.
Um, but even Crunchyroll, right? Crunchyroll is San Francisco based, right? And they only do anime, Japanese anime. So, um,
That's true.
yeah,
So yeah, that's a good one. Damn.
yeah. Because remember,
All right.
Crunchyroll is only for the West, so we can watch anime. They don't have Crunchyroll in Japan. I don't think. I think it's like Anime Lab, or I think that might be Australia.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's something else,
Yeah, there's something else. I can't remember what it's called out there.
but I do because you answered that one good. You was ready for that one. I just want to throw out some more example shows that aren't anime that are easily misinterpreted to be animes.
Mm-hmm.
Some shows the first thing ones that come to mind, like you said, Avatar, Last Airbender, and Legend of Korra, the Boondocks, uh, OG Code Lyoko, uh,
Lyoko.
yeah, Code Lyoko. You remember that with the kids? It was an isekai. If you think about it, the format of the show was an isekai.
It's yeah, okay.
These kids, they go to another world, they get trapped in the game for a couple of days, and they come back and they go back to the game, man, to
Lyoko.
save a person and they stuck in the game. You remember that?
Yeah, I'm gonna pull it up for people. Hold on.
All right,
Lyoko,
yeah.
because I have the
So
picture
Code
for it.
Lyoko was one.
I just gotta pull it
Um,
real quick.
some other shows, the original Teen Titans. Uh,
Lyoko.
yeah, man, Code Lyoko. The original Teen Titans.
Ooh, the
Uh,
original, huh?
what's that called? Neo Yokio on Netflix with the black dude with the pink hair.
That one.
That's not an anime.
You talking about Jaden Smith show?
Yeah, James Smith show.
So,
Hey, why? You know another show that popped up in my head that was like something that my sister had us watch constantly as kids.
huh?
Totally Spies
See,
was another show.
Totally Spies is a show that definitely should have been an anime.
Yeah, it was good, man.
I don't remember it too much. It was definitely a show where I didn't watch it because I was like, oh, it's made for girls. I got other stuff to watch. Yeah, I heard it's good. I'm sure it's good.
Yeah, it was good.
I'm pretty
All
sure
right,
I've
bro.
seen a couple of stuff here and there.
I got a second question for
All
you.
right, throw it on me.
All right. What are some common characteristics of good anime beginner shows? So I'm gonna restate that.
Yeah.
What are some similarities between shows that you would recommend to people who are beginning in anime? What are some similarities within those shows that you would recommend that they all have in common?
So usually, the first batch of shows I always recommend to the beginners are usually shows to where I'm gonna say they've been less than 30 episodes. I think it's hard to convince beginners to watch long running ones besides your OGs, right? Besides your Naruto, Dragon Balls. But even then, I wouldn't tell somebody brand new to go watch Dragon Ball from the beginning. I'll tell them to go watch Naruto from the beginning, just because there's a full journey there. You need to understand the essence of the swing, right? Let's see what else. So short episodes. Um, I would like to say a good MC, or at least like some good character growth. Like if your MC is gonna be bad, at least have good character growth on your side characters, or at least have good side characters, right?
Right.
That way, not everyone likes the MC, right? It's hard for me to find anyone who's a fan of Naruto who is a Naruto fan. there's Naruto stands out there, right? But it's not the majority of us, right?
Right.
It's hard to find that. Goku's a little bit different. Goku kind of just is everybody, so everyone likes Goku. You can't really hate him, even though he's a terrible father. But that's
Mm.
why everyone likes him, America. Um, so yeah, so besides show length and MC, um, I mean, I think those are the main two. Because sometimes you can get away with a bad plot, and sometimes you can get away with bad characters. Uh, so do you have a show on here? I know you're going to talk about for this, but one show that I actually think has a poor plot
Mm.
is Parasite. Parasite in the long run isn't a very good idea for a show. Like it's just if you pitch Parasite to me and you're like, no, 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 I had this talking finger. It's called Migi, but he's actually an alien, but he just controls the hand because he missed the brain. Then what? Oh, but they go out and kill their aliens, but like, yeah, it's a hard show to pitch. The plot's not
Right.
very good, but the show is very good.
Right. So another thing, because you hit 2 to 3 points I also had for what makes a good beginner anime. A third thing I want to add like was a complete story.
Mm.
So I feel like you know just like with because I will say Parasite, if you pitch it to anybody who's not into like horror or just some weird stuff, it never sounds good.
Yeah, that's
But
Parasite.
for the simple fact of it has a beginning, a middle, and an end, it
Yeah,
finishes, and it gives you a clear sense of an ending.
yeah,
It's something that you can reflect and look back on, like, all right, well, this was nice. I enjoyed this time with this show.
yeah. I'm not gonna say don't say clear ending with Parasite
Right,
because
right.
it's very like it's over. Like it's very obvious it's over,
It's over.
but only because Migi says it's over. Migi's just like, yo, I'm gone. I'm
Right.
out.
It's really not.
Yeah, Migi. Yeah, I know. So that's why I say it's not clear cut because it didn't really answer a lot of questions. It was just like, yo, this is the show. There's aliens. They're in people's brains. That's it. Why? I don't know. They're just here. Don't worry about it.
They're here to fight. They're here to throw down.
That's pretty much what got me to watch that show was the scene, and I'm sure people have seen the scene and not know what's from. Is when dude walks into the gang hideout
Oh yeah, and he starts slicing
and
cats
he
up.
starts jacking people up. I saw that scene and I was like, "Yo, what is this show?" I was like, "Parasite? This weird thing? All right, I guess I'll watch it."
That's pretty much what happened with Same with me, man. Like I never like if you look at the thumbnail, it looks like nothing I would ever want to watch. But I remember coming across some AMVs on YouTube, man, and I was like, okay, I gotta see what this is about.
Yeah.
But yeah, another show that I would say that I would recommend. Do you have any other shows that you would recommend for good beginner animes or?
So I almost added this to the queue, but I feel like I drop it into the show so much. Uh, but I finally finished my like fourth rewatch of Separate at the End. I always tell people to watch that show when they're beginning, just because it's just a good show. Like it
Yeah,
doesn't go over the top. Like there's not over the top fight scenes, but there's good fight scenes. The main
yeah,
character isn't super strong and crazy, but he's a good you Yusuke is a Yusuke. I can't remember his name now. Something like
Gee,
that.
it's been so long. I can't even. I know what they look like. I can't remember their names,
I do
man.
remember Michaela though. Was
Oh,
the one that got left
yeah.
behind. Yeah. It's just good. Like that's just a good show, and that also has a very good story from beginning to end. Like, dude, I don't know if it's just the Star
I hate
Wars
the
fan in
ending,
me.
man.
I don't know if it's just the Star Wars fan in me, but a scene where they just get rid of all the kids. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, dude, you ain't shit, man.
So yeah, that scene is a little more in depth than what Anakin was shown to do. But dude,
I hate.
I gotta say, that has to be the best like intro to an anime. Like these, I'm gonna ruin it for you guys because if you haven't seen it, the show's super old. they plan to escape this vampire city, pretty much. There's a bunch of human children, kids, right? So they literally have this plan, and they're at the front door, and then the main villain comes out, and he literally goes, "The exit's right there. If you guys want to leave, run for it. Go ahead." And the kids are like, "Okay, they take off." Yo, he just runs around and he slices each and every one of them one by one, and they make us watch it. It is one of the coldest openings, like origin stories for an MC ever.
Yeah.
And it's, but it's
I
good.
feel so bad because I laugh every single time, man. Because it's like, dude, how fucked up do you gotta be?
The kids thought they were free. They're like, "No, we can't leave it." He's like, "No, go."
You gave them
He's
so
gonna
much
spare you.
hope, like they can really make it.
Yeah. He's like, "You have my word." And they run. He's just like, "Nah, slice." Yeah, it's cool. That's a good show. In the same kind of area, Gami Got Killed is always one I recommend people just so they can get a sense of what. So I recommend that show to let them know what kind of twists they can expect from animes.
Yeah, for sure. That's a perfect example. Akame Got Killed.
Yeah.
I like. Some other ones that I just thought of, just some shows that I would throw in that list would be, like I said, Parasite, Mob, Psycho 100. I felt like, you get great character development throughout the show with Mob. From season 1 is so very different from season 2. Like what most people don't realize, if you go back and rewatch it, those first 2 seasons can be one whole season.
Mm-hmm.
It's about, I want to say, 50 episodes long.
Yeah.
A total span of 2 seasons. And it's just one giant character development of Mob, Shigeo. It's a good one. Like I said, it's a show we've previously talked about on the podcast, so I'm not gonna spend too much time talking about it. Another show that we talked about was Code Geass, and Hunter x Hunter, that had, like I had mentioned earlier. Those are just some few just on the top of my mind that I can think of.
Yeah, and Code Geass is on Netflix right now. So if you haven't seen Code Geass, like strategic wise, Lelouch will always be in like the top 3, top 5 for some people for greatest minds in anime. I would definitely recommend checking it out. The anime version is just a recolored version. I watched a couple episodes just to see the differences. It just looks better. The story is exactly the same. Nothing has changed at all. So just watch the Netflix version. It's fine. It's the same thing.
And I will say, if you're a fan of Code Geass and you just haven't been able to rewatch the movies, I will say too, the last movie, the reincarnation of Lelouch, it's worth watching. And so if you can find it, however you find it, whether you go on to unrestricted sites to watch anime or you buy the Blu-ray, it's worth the while.
Yeah.
It's worth the watch. It's worth the, I want to say, hour and 45 minutes. It is.
Yeah, and I think shows like Code Geass, your what's it called? Evangeline one.
Oh, Neon Genesis.
Neon Genesis. Neon Evangeline. Neon Genesis Evangeline. Shows like that. What else? Gurren Lagann. Like those next shows are the reason why I like Knights and Magic so much, because those shows really good stories, especially Gurren Lagann. Like Gurren Lagann also has one of the best character growth I've seen.
Richard Teeth.
Yeah, yeah, dude. That last episode, I cried my eyes out, man. That was a good one. That was a way to go out. That's a good show. Yeah. But those are shows that are mech shows with good plots. A lot of the new mech ones, especially with all like the newer Gundams coming out, besides Blood Orphan, they haven't been good plot wise, which is what I was worried with Knights and Magic. But Knights and Magic, it's almost like they don't care about the plot. They're like, "Yo, you guys are here to see mechs fight. We're just gonna give you that." And that's why I appreciate that. Just because when you think of a mech show, you think it's all about mechs, but you don't realize, man, it's that story that gets you. Like Neon Evangeline, like that story, like no one has dad like that. Like, like you have to understand, dude. That kid is so depressed. Like
Yeah.
that story is so good. Then you got Gurren Lagann. You just got two friends who escape to the surface. Like they're just good stories.
Gordon Logan, I will say this too, because I know I have a lot of friends who says that's their favorite anime of all time.
Oof.
Um, if if you feel like you're in a dark place in your life, right? Like things just aren't going your way, watch Gordon Logan. I promise you,
Yes.
I promise you, things will start getting better. You'll start feeling better. You know what I mean? This show gives you hope. It's weird how what some of these animes can do for a person.
Yeah. Yeah. I believe it. If you're if you're fans of Gurren Lagann and you're looking for something like it, watch Gundam Blood Orphans.
Mm.
You don't have to watch any other Gundam stuff to know anything about it. It's a whole separate story, but it's almost the same thing as Gurren Lagann. It's just a group of orphans, blood orphans, and they run their own like station for Gundam, and they're like side contracted to different governments, and it's pretty much their story of like
Mm.
this crazy kid and like this other teen, and they just go through the ranks. I guess they were homeless. The story is really muddled, also because I've watched it in pieces.
Mm.
But essentially, it follows two main characters. You don't really ever really know which one's the main character, but it's between these two guys, and one of them is just like a cold blooded like killer. Like he's pretty much like, yo, you saved my life. I'll just do anything you want. So like, as kids, he like saved them like when he was homeless. So he pretty much became like his sword. Like, hey, I need this guy taken care of. Okay, and he'll
He's
just
a what's
cold
that
cut.
girl?
Like it's yo, this kid is cold. He gets into a Gundam and he is just no motion. Like yeah, okay. They're always like, why'd you do that? No, because he asked me to. Like yeah, don't you feel bad? He's like, no, he said do it, and I do it. Like
Damn.
yeah, but that has a really good like buddy story that blossoms. I like that. The action in that is crazy, and it's just cool seeing Gundam without your typical military Gundam story.
Yeah, I was gonna ask too. I always forget this about Gundam, dude, because it was really big when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
Is it does it follow like the same original Gundam, like the actual mechs themselves?
Yeah.
Does it
So
follow the same like storyline with them? Because I know there was only like seven. I want to say like seven or like eight
yes, I
of the,
think this
the
takes
real Gundam.
place. I think this takes place after the big war in Gundam.
Mm.
And they're in the same universe, so they bring them up. And the Gundam they use is one of the originals too. They'll say like, "Oh, this is like original, blah 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 blah." So it's like not the main one, but it's one of the originals that were in the show.
That's what's up.
Yeah, it's a good show. It's not fantastic, but it's good for a mech show. It's good for the bad Gundam stuff that's come out recently.
Okay. All right. So I got one last question for you, man,
All right,
and
what's
then
up?
I said the best one for last. 'Cause I feel like this can go left or right. Now that anime is big and it's popular and it's it's mainstream now. Where do you feel like anime itself is headed? Do you feel like it's going to get so big to the point where it essentially changes what it is? You know how everything becomes. It's always cool before it becomes mainstream, and once it becomes mainstream, it's jaded. You know, it's
Yeah,
changed. It's nothing like what it was originally. So
yeah.
how do you feel about the future of anime?
So I think I think the future will be fine, mostly because I'm convinced that Japan doesn't care what America thinks about their shows.
Mm.
So they can put out some stuff, and as long as it's not like their community bashing them, I don't think they care. So I think it'll be fine because I think if well, it's hard to say if anime was American because it would just be cartoons, but I think if our shows that we love so much were made in America and were American controlled, I think we would be in trouble just because we're more of a corporation than a company. So when something good like My Hero comes out, it's just how can we make the most money off of this, right?
That's right.
Which is what they did with My Hero, right? Which is why whenever I say My Hero sucks, everyone's like, "No, you just hate it because it's popular." Like, no, there's like legit reasons why I don't like it, but I don't think that's the case in Japan. I think in Japan they're more into like stories and art to where there's always going to be something in anime for somebody in Japan. So I
Hmm.
think even though we get weird shows and we do get bad CGI, all the bad CGI had either come from like lower companies that don't have enough money to computer generate higher end graphics, or they come from companies who try to satisfy the U.S. and Netflix. Right, that's your Nintendos. Which I was actually surprised. One thing I didn't mention about Knights and Magic. I'm gonna keep mentioning Knights and Magic all night, but Knights and Magic's manga was actually produced by Square Enix,
Oh wow.
mostly because Square Enix wanted to sell the mechs. Um, but I mean that just tells you that Square Enix liked the designs of the mechs so much that
Right.
they published the manga.
Wow, that's great stuff.
Yeah, and then the animation is done by Gonzo. You ever seen that brand? You ever seen that come up? Gonzo.
No.
Yeah, yeah, you have. I gotta figure out what say it done. Gonzo Anime Station.
I'm actually happy that you touched on the CGI thing,
Mm-hmm.
um, because I feel like you're 110% right. I feel like anime is starting to, the Japanese community cares about art and story. And just like last year in the Crunchyroll Awards, you saw a lot of these shows having fight scenes in like 2.5D with that CGI giving it that depth
Yeah.
that I feel like a lot of basic anime misses. Um, but I honestly I feel like I'm on the opposite end of the conversation when it comes to liking where anime is going with CGI. Like me personally, I can't do CGI. It just doesn't come off clear or clean to me. Like it kind of ruins the experience at times. Because I don't know. I feel like with Japan, where Japan's going to do their own thing
Yeah.
in terms of home and the states. I feel like America's gonna, like you said, we're a corporation versus a company. They're gonna ride that money train with anime. Anime is gonna be everywhere so much to point where I feel like the community might split to where you have people who are all bored for CGI and this new stuff, and then you have people who are like us old heads. Like,
Yeah.
oh no, they want the you know they want the 2D, they want the uh the simple anime. I would say.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. I don't know, man. I think so. When I look at the shows I like and the ones that we constantly always bring up, it's obviously usually from either what Bone Studio, Madhouse, or like Production IG, right? I think we have a couple A1s. I think Sao is A1, right?
Mhm.
I don't think we have to worry about those studios. Like I don't like those aren't big studios in the U.S. Like I can't go to somebody and be like, "Oh, see what Madhouse put out?" They're like, "What are you talking about?" Like Bone Studio just dropped this. Like that. Those aren't the names that are big out here. But when it comes to like Toei, right, and then you got Square Enix, Sega, like when companies like that start dropping stuff, is when you're like, all right, like let's see where they go with this. I think those are the companies we worry about,
Mm.
especially Toei. But it's okay. Toei won't put out anything good. They only got Dragon Ball and Digimon, I think, left.
Yeah, One Piece. That's it.
Oh yeah, One Piece.
That's it.
And that's it.
All right, so that's all I kind of have for questions, man. Let me ask you this: uh, How do you feel about CGI, man? Like, I know you kind of touched bases on it a little bit earlier, but if anime is, like in just like like I said, the CGI is obviously the future. You know, what I mean,
Yeah.
it's here and it's not going anywhere soon. I feel like. How do you feel about it with the current examples that you have with these CGI shows like the Berserk, Pokemon, Saint Seiya?
Yeah.
Uh, was that I forget the show that won Fight Animation of the Year last year on Crunchyroll's awards, and it was all in CGI that whole fight.
What won last year? Or not this not the one we did, but the one before that, right?
No, the one we did,
What won
the one
best
we did.
fight scene?
I forgot something. It was a show that had CGI. It was in two. It was like two girls. One had like bluish silver hair, and the other one had like I can't remember. It was like a giant fight. I forgot.
Was
I
it
remember we
was
were
it
both
Fate?
shocked. We were like, well, we never,
Fate
really
didn't
like
win, did it?
Huh?
It wasn't Fate, right? It wasn't a Fate series.
I can't remember. It was a show we didn't watch. Neither of us watched the show, so.
Ah, okay, okay. I I'm trying to. I was like trying to stall long enough to pull it up.
Oh yeah, my bad, dude. I can't help you this time, man. I'm like lost. I
No,
can't
I got it right
even
here.
say what the name of the show is, man.
Fight scene was no, it's not best fight scene. Best fight scene was Demon Slayer. That's why I was sure.
So what was that? Because I know it wasn't something that caught us off guard.
Was it best animation? Nope. Mob Psycho. Character design was Dotoro.
Maybe it was the year before that. I think you were right.
Yeah, it might have been the year before that because I think I had a lot of issues with the 2019 fight scene. No, that was All for One versus All Might.
It'll pop up.
Yeah,
It'll come up.
I mean
It was a
Devilman
good fight scene.
Crybaby
I do
was up
remember
there.
that. It was intense. It'll come up.
Yeah. So I don't hate CGI, right?
Mm.
It's obviously the future. And I should say 3D CGI because technically everything that we watch is CGI since it's computer generated information, right? Um, but 3D CGI just needs to be done right. Like we watch Inuyashiki and it doesn't bother us that much because we just want to watch this old man and his kid just the town up, right? I mean that's what we watch the show for, right? So I think
Mm.
it has to be done that way, not like what they're doing with like. Have you seen the new Ghost in the Shell? What they're doing with that?
No, dude, because I saw that it was CGI, and I'm like,
See, so that CGI is bad, and there's no way people can tell me that is the future when I can't find a single person who likes it. Like something CGI would drop, right? Like your new Pokemon will drop, right? There's not a single good review. So in my head, I don't see a reason why Nintendo would put out another Pokemon movie with the same graphics.
see, that's where I got you. In your head and the people that you talk to in your circle and your community, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now you get someone who's 10 years younger than you and I. You know, they might dig because I'm not gonna lie, the CGI, the 3D CGI with Pokemon, I hated it. Ash looked terrible. Oh, exactly. With Beastars, I hated that too.
Yeah.
I hated looking at it. But with Pokemon, the Pokemon themselves looked amazing.
Yeah.
And this is why I said I feel like you'll have a split in terms of the anime community because you have the old heads like you and I, like I can't do CGI. I
But
can't watch a whole show and this is all I'm looking at.
But see, it has to be there has to be something else to the show besides CGI. Like when we talk about B stars, the first thing we complain about is not the CGI, is the fact that someone tried to make me watch one animal trying to blow a different animal, right?
Yeah, that was weird. Yeah.
That that is what's wrong with that show. It's not the CGI. I actually think the artwork in B stars is nice. I like the way it's shaded in. It's just different.
You're
Sometimes
right.
different is a good change of pace, but also, what brand new animal comes out the end of July. So I stopped
Mhm.
watching it because they announced when the dub is dropping, and it's hard to watch this show sub. The subs aren't very good for BNA, but wait till this show comes out. This is how you do an animal as people anime. Like that show was good.
When is you said BNA has a date, an official date?
Yeah, I think it was Netflix.
I'm curious.
Next month, June
Chat.
30th. Oh, June 30th.
June 30th. Oh, that's coming up.
Mm-hmm.
That's right around the corner.
Next month.
Next end of next month.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Also, I hope they don't do what they did to Japan. Netflix dropped 6 episodes, waited a few months, and then dropped the other 6.
That's dumb.
Yeah. I don't know why they did that in Japan. Hopefully, it was just a test. But everyone
That's tough.
hated it, so I hope they don't do it here. Just drop all 12. Yeah, because you can watch 6 in a day.
Yeah, that's easy.
Yeah.
That's like when they did the season 2 for 7DS, Seven Deadly Sins. They dropped 4 episodes.
4 episodes.
I hated that for the second season,
You
and they
know
were
what I
just
hate?
filler.
I hate that it's called the second season because
Yeah.
they're like just put OVAs because that's what they were. There were 4 OVAs. They weren't. It wasn't a season. It was cool. We got to see like Meliodas and Bond fight, but like that fight's not canon, so it shouldn't be considered a season. But I don't know. I am still excited for that to drop in the West. despite
I'm,
despite how bad the animation apparently is supposed to look. But like, you don't understand, man. Well, especially since the fact that I heard that they
no,
squeezed this arc into 2 seasons, right? So we don't get the end of the war. You don't get the end of the war until next year.
that's so dumb. So,
Yeah.
so wait, so you're saying you're excited about that? They're going to give you crap for the first half, and then
Well,
probably give us some nice polished work on the back end,
they better do that in the back end.
right?
Those last few chapters I was showing you with my boy Escanor, if those aren't animated correctly, yeah, I'm gonna lose my wits.
Hey,
But
honestly, if they animate that show just how the manga is, dude, Escanor is probably gonna have one of the biggest fall offs for a character of anime history.
yes,
Like, and it's a big, like, worse than Gohan fall off.
yeah, man. But it was almost like they had to nerf. I'm gonna spoil it a little bit for you guys. They nerfed.
Nah, man, don't do that. Don't do that.
Oh,
Not for Seven Deadly. Seven Deadly has some of the crispiest animation fight scenes. You can't just off the strength of that alone. You can't do that.
mm,
You can't do that.
okay. Everyone should read Seven Deadly Sins. That's an easier anime to read. It's mostly just fight scenes, so it gets kind of hard to like follow the drawings for the fights. But that's a really good one, so you guys can get to the last chapter and try not to cry because I felt weird reading something and getting emotional. Like, what am I? I'm not even watching this animated, and these last 2 chapters are getting me emotional, man. Damn it, Merlin! It's all Merlin's fault. That's all I got to say. She didn't have to do that. But anyway, CGI is fine. It needs to be done right. You'll see. It's just, I don't know. Like, watch Knights and Magic. Like, that's how CGI should be used. It's very minimum, and it was easier to animate mechs fighting with CGI, and it came out.
Let me. Can I ask this? Just because on Knights of Magic, is it somewhat like with their mechs, the 3D CGI? Is it somewhat like Code Geass, where it's like it's obviously it's 3D CGI, but it's still drawn like in a second in
Yeah,
this dimension?
that's a good one. It's a little more obviously CGI than Code Geass, but it's the same thing. You can tell they drew it, but like probably didn't want to spend that much time like drawing each fight scene.
All the individual parts and shit.
Yeah, so they just say, you know what, just pop that into a script and just whatever the computer pumps out is what we'll show. And it came out good. Like the fight scenes are good in that show.
Mhm.
I'm gonna keep pumping it till everybody watches Knights and Magic because it needs a second season just so I can see what else this kid can make.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny too because like he keeps building these mechs, and you think like everyone thinks he has this ulterior motive, like oh he wants to take over the government, but he's literally like oh the aesthetic, like he keeps saying the aesthetics, like it's just weird to see it, and people are always confused in the show because he calls them robots, and they're obviously not robots.
Oh, what?
Yeah, he go like oh it's a robot, and they're like what's a robot?
What?
Yeah, so
That
like every time he says robot, they correct him just as if you were talking to a Gundam stand and you're like, "Oh, those robots are cool." Like, can you imagine going up to like a someone who stands Gundam still and just saying, "Oh, those robots are cool."
yo, yo, if that was me, if I was a Gundam stand, that'd set me off, bro.
Yeah,
That would set me off.
yeah,
It's like our Naruto fans, like, oh, are you watching Naruto? You want to get punched in the face?
yeah. So everyone watch Knights of Magic. It's good. I'm gonna post it in the Instagram. But anyway, let's get into the main topic. We'll try not to stretch this out too long, but it's a topic that a lot of people will talk about, and you'll never really get an answer because you will just end up in tangents, which I'm gonna try to prevent here.
Hmm.
But when I say anime versus source material, I'm just trying to see if you guys think if anime really needs to be faithful to the manga or the novel, in order to be successful, right? There's obviously going to be shows that went away from the manga that have been good, which is mostly what Dragon Ball. What else has gone against the manga?
Uh,
I had a list, I think.
damn.
Well, this it's easier to name the shows that it didn't work out, right? Full
Mm-hmm.
Metal Alchemist tried to
Didn't
have
work out.
their own show, didn't work out. That's why we have Brotherhood.
Yep.
Hellsing did the same thing. Started too
Hell,
soon,
admit.
went some weird path, came back with Ultimate to follow the manga. So Tokyo Ghoul, I think, is going to be my example of something that went away from the manga and was still good. If you read the manga and then watch Tokyo Ghoul, it's very obvious the manga's better and the anime ruined it, but it's still a good show. Like I can tell people to watch Tokyo Ghoul and they'll get all the way through it and be like, "Yo, that was a good show."
Mm.
Like, yeah, just
Yeah,
don't
I
get
don't think. I don't think. Honestly, I don't think I've everyone who I've recommended Tokyo Ghoul to who've actually watched it. I don't think anyone's ever came back and said that it wasn't worth the watch.
yeah. That show was good, and I think that was, and the things they took out from the manga are very minimal compared to others, but they just pretty much took out other things that would involve like 30 more episodes to explain, or something that wouldn't paint Kaneki in the greatest light,
Mm.
right? Because at the end, Kaneki is a family man, right? It's not 100% true in the manga. There's a bunch of rumors in the manga. There's a bunch of rumors saying the manga's ending isn't as cut and dry as we think, and that yeah, I'm gonna ruin it. So, the rumor is that Kaneki is actually dead, and all of his kids and stuff were pretty much just his dream after he died. This is heaven. I
What?
remember
That's what
read
happened in the manga?
no, in the manga is it ends almost like the anime. He has a family at the end, right? But there's
Yeah.
not the anime explains it a little bit better. They don't explain it that much in the manga. So it leaves a lot of open for interpretation.
Mm.
And I read a rumor and the points check out pretty good. I'm pretty sure it's not. I'm pretty sure he's alive, but they do a good job at trying to prove that Kaneki's actually dead. Because it's based off of the creator. The creator is technically Kaneki.
What?
You never read about that story?
No.
Yeah, dude. The creator is like super depressed, had a super depressing life, and pretty much turned his life into this manga.
No, bro. I never knew that.
Yeah, he was Kaneki. He was a book nerd who didn't have friends, and I think he had like I don't know what his terrible experience, but he had like a whole bunch of terrible experiences that drove him into depression. Then he just started sketching stuff, and it was Kaneki.
That's fucking wild.
Yeah, so yeah,
That's
that's
fucking
why
wild.
that's why that show is so good because that pain feels so real in that show, and you're just like, man,